Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right? You're respectful, you're emotionally available, you're a good man. But for some reason, women never seem to feel the spark with you. Can I be real with you for a second? I've coached many women on dating over the years, not to mention being a woman myself. There's something that I wish more men and more women understood about attraction. And when I talk about attraction, it's not just about what women say we want, but actually what makes us feel safe, drawn in, and open to you in a way that is deeply magnetic and attractive. And it has everything to do with polarity. In today's video, we're going to be talking about masculine and feminine polarity and how stepping into your grounded masculine energy could be the missing piece that changes everything for you. Hi, I'm Olivia. I'm a love and confidence coach, and I work with men like yourself. My goal is to give you the tools to master confidence, communication, and authentic connection so that you can step into your power and your own self-leadership when it comes to your social life and your dating life, and step into the high-value version of yourself that you were always supposed to be. If that sounds like the kind of path that you're ready for, then do be sure to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up so the algorithm knows to share it with more men like yourself. Okay, back to the topic of polarity. And before we speak a little bit more on this topic as a concept, I want to share a little bit about my story with you. 6 or 7 years ago, I was running everything in my life from my masculine energy. I was organized, assertive, structured, pushing for success, ticking off goals. And if I'm honest, that energy spilled over into my romantic life as well. I didn't feel safe letting anybody else take control. Sure, I attracted men that looked masculine on the outside, but they never knew how to lead. And over time, I'd find myself feeling frustrated, resentful, and it's not because they were bad guys, but because on a very visceral level, I was craving something deeper, something that I didn't have, something that I never had, in fact. I wanted to relax. I wanted to feel like somebody had me. But at the same time, I didn't know how to let go, because a part of me believed that nobody, not even the man that I was with, could actually hold that space for me. And how did this happen? Well, I never had a safe masculine presence around me growing up. I had to learn to look after myself. I became strong, capable, resilient, and exhausted. And in dating, I kept finding myself attracting men who operated in their love life from the place of their feminine energy. And we can get into the psychology of the mother and father wounds and how this happens for both men and women in a later video. But stay with me here. These men were always operating from their feminine energy in relationship. They were sweet and caring, but very passive. They didn't take the lead. And because I was so used to always taking the lead anyway, I just ended up doing it. I'd plan the dates, follow up, pick the location, initiate the hard conversations, set my boundaries, assert my standards. And over time, I'd slowly start resenting them for never stepping up, for never making an equal effort, for never communicating openly about what they thought or what they needed. But the truth is, I wasn't leaving space for them to step up. And deep down, behind all that masculine energy, I was craving for a man who knew how to take the lead and show up with a grounded, assertive, certain energy in himself. A man who made me feel safe enough that I could let go. And this isn't an uncommon story in our modern society. Most of the women who are operating and living from their masculine energy didn't end up there intentionally. They had to be strong. They had to look after themselves. And deep down, they're still holding it all together because they've never really felt safe enough to truly let go. But here's the shift. As I made a conscious realization that I was very stuck in my masculine, I started to reconnect and do the work to find my feminine energy. And that's when everything changed. After that, the kind of men that I was attracted to and that I was attracting were completely different from the men before. I found myself exclusively feeling drawn to men who made me feel like I could soften, men who knew how to lead without being controlling, men who were grounded in themselves. I found myself realizing that I felt safe to follow, to express, to feel, to trust. I went from a place of being a woman who used to approach men all the time to being the kind of woman that would never approach a man. And that's not because I started playing games, it's just because I found myself more attracted to the kind of guy who would come and talk to me, the kind of guy that would initiate. I felt a shift where I let go of the need to be trying to create a certain outcome. And I just had an ease and a playfulness and a trust that made men feel safe to start coming to me. And I found that if a man didn't want to take the lead and come and talk to me and initiate, then I just didn't feel it. And that's not because I'm judging him. It's simply because the polarity isn't there. You might be asking yourself, why are you telling me this, Olivia? What has this got to do with me? What has this got to do with what women want? Well, it has a lot to do with what women want. The kind of woman that you want to attract is either going to fit into this category of being more in her masculine or more in her feminine. And if you find yourself attracting more masculine women who tend to be the ones who come and talk to you, and you actually want to be attracting more feminine women who allow you to be in your masculine, then it might be a signal to take a conscious look at yourself, at your behaviors, at your energy, just like I had to, and making a conscious effort to start shifting towards being more in your masculine so that you can attract the kind of women that you really want. I know, as you're watching this, you might find that there are parts of you that are getting triggered at the thought of having to step more into this masculine energy. I know when somebody pointed out to me that I was very masculine, it was very triggering for me. I had so much resistance to hearing what he had to say. But here's the thing. The trigger is the medicine. The trigger is pointing us towards the thing that we are refusing to look at, but we need to look at in order to grow and develop and be better versions of ourselves, to find the things that we want to find. And that resistance is in some ways fear of the unknown. It can be a signal that there's something deep down that we know we need to look at, but we don't know how. Something that will challenge the very things that we've gotten used to in our lives, that we're comfortable with. Often, what lies on the other side of fear is exactly what we want and what we need. And that conversation, although it was really triggering, it made me really angry when I first heard it, has changed my entire life, my entire perspective, and my relationship with myself and others. So I invite you to come to this conversation with more of an open mind than I had when I first heard about it. Also, don't see this as criticism or a reflection of your worth. See it instead as an opportunity to reflect and discover something deeper about yourself and how you can relate. And hey, you can get to the end of this video and decide that you completely disagree with everything I've said. Then you can go ahead and carry on exactly as you've been doing. That's up to you. I'm not here to tell you how to live your life. I'm just here to give you tools, insights, and information that's going to support you on your journey, whatever that might look like. So, what is polarity really? Masculine and feminine energy are not gender rules. They're energetic and behavioral qualities, and we all have both of them inside us. Masculine energy is about direction, presence, structure, leadership, logic, order, responsibility, protection, boundaries, and giving. Feminine energy, on the polar opposite side, is about emotion, flow, chaos, seduction, sensuality, softness, expansion, expression, creativity, and receiving. Within each of us, we have a play of both the masculine and feminine energies. Both of these masculine and feminine energies within us can exhibit themselves in an unhealthy or a healthy way. They become unhealthy or wounded if they are in such an absence of the opposite side that you're in the extreme. So for example, if you're in an extreme of your masculine energy and you're lacking a connection to your feminine energy, it means that you're going to be so rigid and so structured that you don't know how to relax, that you don't know how to express your emotions. It means that the boundaries will be so closed that you won't allow new information or people or ideas to come into your sphere because you're so fixed into this rigid space. On the other side, if you're in your wounded or unhealthy feminine energy, that means there's such a lack of masculine energy that you end up exhibiting behaviors like indecisiveness, self-doubt, a lack of self-belief, emotional volatility, absolutely zero structure in your life, being so chaotic that you just have no direction. So you can see how within an individual, you need to have a balance of masculine and feminine energy. That doesn't mean that they're going to be 50-50, but the only way that you can truly meet the healthy expression of either side of those is if you understand the opposite side. If you really want to be in your healthy expression of your masculine, you need to have an understanding and a connection with your feminine energy. That doesn't mean you need to operate from there all of the time, but you need to be able to tap into it so it can balance out your masculine and not allow it to come out as a controlling energy, but instead as a leading energy that has decisiveness and assertiveness and initiation, but is also open enough to be able to hear feedback from other people, to listen to other people's needs and emotions, and not be so rigid. And you can't meet your healthy feminine energy if you don't have a connection with your masculine for the same reasons. They need to balance each other out within you. That doesn't mean that you're going to be 50-50 masculine to feminine. The majority of us are going to be leaning more towards one or the other most of the time. In a romantic connection between two people, what creates attraction is the polarity between those two people. Opposites attract. Opposites create tension, like two magnets pulling towards each other. In my opinion, opposites don't attract if you have differing values, differing life goals, differing preferences or needs within the relationship. But when it comes to polarity, Opposites definitely attract. Now, this is a video for men wanting to connect with women, but this rule still applies in all relationships. Polarity attracts. So if you're showing up predominantly in your feminine, soft, receptive, going with the flow, following, and she's also in her feminine, then in that connection, there's absolutely no charge because you're the same energy, which means instead of attracting, you repel. There's no charge, there's no pull, no clear direction, and certainly there's no attraction. So that's a small overview of how polarity works. If you want to know more about it and go deeper into this subject, then comment below and I'll make a video on this topic in the future. But for now, let's keep the train moving forward. Okay, let's talk about the friend zone and how this might relate to the state of energy that you are currently operating from. Let's be real, if you keep ending up in the friend zone, there's probably a reason. Maybe you're getting caught in the nice guy trap. If so, check out the video that's on screen now. But maybe it's not because you're too nice. Maybe it's because your energy isn't creating enough polarity and therefore attraction. If you're always waiting for the woman to approach you, for her to initiate, to message you first, to suggest plans, if you're afraid to take the lead or make a move because you're afraid of coming across as creepy or making her uncomfortable, she feels that. And not only does she not feel turned on by that, she might even feel emotionally heavier around you, especially if she's the kind of woman who's naturally attracted to a man who makes her feel like she can settle into her feminine energy. So if you're never holding any structure, making any moves, or ever taking the lead, over time that's going to make her lose attraction and pull away and lose interest. She might not even consciously know why. She might just feel like the spark isn't there. You might hear her saying, "You're amazing, you're such a great guy, you're such a nice guy, but I just don't feel that way about you." And what she's saying underneath this message is, "I don't feel polarity." And yeah, look, just because you have polarity doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be everybody's cup of tea in terms of preferences and values and so on, and vice versa. But it could be playing a major role in your attraction if you keep getting stuck in the friend zone. So you've made it this far and you're probably wondering, okay, Olivia, what do I do about this? Start by cultivating your masculine presence, or masculine edge, as some people call it. That does not mean being dominating, aggressive, cold, or being an alpha male. What this means is practicing presence and groundedness. Try not to be second guessing yourself all the time and actually try to be more decisive and direct with what you want and what you think. It means taking the lead, not from a place of being controlling or dominating, but from a place of clarity and certainty in yourself. It means being emotionally steady and consistent, not emotionally unavailable or overly available. It also means holding space for her without collapsing or over-explaining. In truth, stepping into your masculine energy is about letting go of your need to try and impress her. If you're constantly trying to prove yourself so you can get something back in terms of validation or attention or affection, then that's going to start to throw off the polarity and the energetic pull of attraction. Instead, just show up with integrity, show her that you've got you. And from that place, extend your attention, your structure, and your consistent intention towards her. When a woman feels a man's energy land fully and clearly, she feels him. She doesn't need to ask what his intentions are because the congruence between his words, actions, and decisions tell her everything that she needs to know. This not only builds deep polarity and attraction, but it also makes her feel safe to open to you and trust you and follow you. And it also means that she's going to create a space for you also to feel safe and seen and nurtured in return, where she can offer you that nurturing, soft, feminine energy to support you in your growth with your needs in the relationship as well. I hope that video has given you a little bit more clarity and a new perspective, or maybe just some things to think about that you can go away and research further for yourself. But just remember, the women that you want are craving a man that can hold them, who make them feel like they're safe and they can trust in emotionally, physically, and energetically. And I promise you, the moment you start embodying that version of yourself, that's when you're going to start being the man that she feels on a visceral level. If you know somebody that you feel really needs to hear this message, then go ahead and share this video with them now and help them to move forward with their growth and their path with this topic as well. And if you want to learn about 8 qualities that will make you irresistible to any woman, then go ahead and check out the video that's on screen now. See you over there. Bye.